Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes the most fascinating stories are kind of hidden in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to uncover one in a market you might not think about every day: flea and tick
Oh,
products.
that's right. We've got our hands on the Global Flea Tick Products Market Report 2025.
Right.
And honestly, the scale
Mm.
and the growth projected here, it's really quite remarkable.
Remarkable is, yeah, maybe an understatement. By 2025, this global market is expected to reach, get this, USD 264 million.
Wow.
Okay, let's unpack that number. That's over $8 billion already. Might surprise some people.
It is substantial. And here's where it gets really interesting. The report forecasts that by 2033, this market isn't just going to inch up.
No,
It's projected to more than double.
double.
Yeah, more than double to USD 1205.7949 million. So over 17 billion.
More than double. Okay, so this isn't just a blip, it's a major expansion. And the growth rate they're predicting, the
Oh,
some
the
are
annual
actually
growth rate, yeah. It's 9.60% from 2025 to 2033.
9.6%. That kind of consistent growth, well, it points to some powerful underlying factors, doesn't it?
Precisely. And the analysts, they've looked back at historical data, 2021 to 2024. They used 2024 as the base year for the
But it's
calculations.
a starting point.
Right. That's the starting point for all
Right.
these projections. Then they estimated for 2025 and then looked ahead all the way to 2033. So it's a pretty comprehensive look.
Yeah, seems thorough. So our mission today is really to cut through the jargon, the sheer volume of data in this report
Mm-hmm.
and pull out the key insights for our listeners. We're going to look at, well, which parts of the world are growing fastest, what product types are leading,
How they're being sold.
right, the distribution channels, and ultimately what's driving this impressive expansion.
Exactly. We'll break down the global picture, look at the regions, the different kinds of solutions, how they reach people, and yeah, try to understand the forces fueling this dynamic market.
Okay, so let's dive into that big picture then, the global overview. As we said, USD 864 million in 2025,
Over 8 billion.
climbing to over 17 billion by 2033. All driven by that, was it 9.6% annual growth rate?
Yeah, 9.6.
These aren't just abstract numbers, are they? I mean, they represent a huge amount of economic activity around keeping our pets healthy.
They really do. And what these figures tell you is, look, this isn't some tiny niche. It's a robust global industry. It's got significant momentum. If you're involved in pet care at all, these numbers should definitely be on your radar.
Absolutely. Now let's get regional, because this is where you start to see some really interesting variations, right, and opportunities. North America holds the biggest slice currently.
It does, yeah. Over 40% of the global revenue. The projection for 2025 is USD 3057.68 million. So over $3 billion.
$3 billion just in North America.
Yeah, and it's still expected to grow. A healthy CAGR of 8.0% between 2025 and 2033. So, it's a mature market, but definitely not stagnant.
And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the big player.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market alone, estimated reach is USD 24,412.51 million in 2025.
Wow, so like 2.4 billion of that 3 billion total.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And it's expected to grow at 7.8% CAGR. The report points to a few key reasons. High pet ownership, obviously.
Right.
Advanced vet care services, a really strong distribution network, and just continuous innovation. New and improved treatments coming out all the time.
That makes total sense. You just walk down the pet aisle, the variety is huge. What about Canada and Mexico?
Canada's market is smaller but still significant.
Mhm.
Projected at USD 366.92 million in 2025, but a slightly higher growth rate, 8.8% CAGR.
Higher than the U.S. Interesting.
Yeah, and the main factor there seems to be simply more households getting pets, just increasing ownership.
Okay.
Mexico, looking at USD 278.25 million in 2025, also strong growth, 8.5% CAGR. So the whole North American region is showing pretty consistent upward trends.
Okay, so North America, the current dominant force.
Wow.
What about across the Atlantic, Europe? How's the picture there?
Europe's holding over 30% of the global market share.
Hmm.
The projection for 2025 is USD 2,396.56 million, so nearly 2.4 billion.
Okay, so second biggest region.
Right. And their anticipated CAGR is also quite strong, 8.6% from 2025 to 2033. So yeah, a substantial and growing industry there too.
And I imagine, like North America, there are specific countries really powering that growth.
Exactly. The UK, for instance, market size around USD 402.6 million in 2025 and a 9.4% CAGR.
9.4, that's even higher than Canada's.
Yeah, and again, fueled by increased pet ownership, much like Canada. Germany's another major player. estimated at USD 474.5 million in 2025, 8.8% CAGR. And the report highlights strong consumer demand there, but also the influence of regulations.
Ah, regulations. How so?
Well, rules about ingredients, how products can be marketed, safety standards, that kind of thing shapes the market significantly.
Right, right. Crucial to understand if you're operating there.
Definitely. Then you've got France, Italy, Russia, Spain, all with market sizes in the, couple $100 million range for 2025. Solid growth projections too, mostly in the 7-8% CAGR range. And even smaller markets across Europe, like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, even Luxembourg, they're all showing healthy KGRs, mostly around 8%. The rest of Europe combined is still substantial, about 335 million in 2025, though growing a bit slower at 7.3%.
Okay, so North America and Europe, the current heavyweights. But the report flagged another region, the one with the most rapid expansion. This is key for future growth, right?
That's right. The Asia-Pacific region, APAC, currently holds around 23% of the global market share.
Yeah.
Projected size, USD 1983.36 million in 2025, so almost 2 billion.
Almost 2 billion, okay.
Yeah.
But the growth.
Yeah, here's where this story really takes off. They're expecting TGR from 2025 to 2033, a remarkable 12.4%.
Wow, 12.4%. That's significantly outpacing North America and Europe. What's behind that?
Well, several things feeding into each other. Primarily, a big rise in pet ownership across the region, especially in places like China and India.
Makes sense.
China's market, for example, projected at USD 833 million in 2025, with an 11.9% CAGR. And that's pretty directly linked to more people in China getting pets.
And India seems to be really leading that growth within APAC.
Absolutely. India's flea and tick market is projected at USD 198.3 million in 2025. Smaller base, but the CAGR a staggering 14.3%.
14.3. That's the highest we've seen anywhere.
It is. The report puts it down to increasing urbanization, more people in cities, often getting pets, and just a significant rise in overall pet ownership rates.
Yeah, that tracks. As lifestyles change, incomes rise, pets often follow. What about other key players in APAC?
Japan, South Korea, Australia all have substantial markets. KGR is hovering around like 11%. Singapore and Taiwan are showing even higher growth rates. Southeast Asia as a whole is projected at an impressive 13.2% AGR.
So it's really broad-based growth across APAC.
It really is. Even the rest of APAC's category is looking at a healthy 12.2% growth.
Yeah.
So yeah, across the board, APAC is just dynamic and expanding rapidly.
So it seems while North America and Europe are, well established, APAC is where the most significant growth and change might happen in the coming years. Crucial insight there.
Precisely. Huge opportunities for companies already there, and maybe for new entrants looking to capitalize on that expansion.
Okay, shifting focus again, South America also has a noteworthy share, you said.
Yes, over 5% of the global revenue. Projected market size USD 314 million in 2025, and a KGR of 10.3%. So still double-digit growth, which is strong.
And within South America, Brazil and Argentina stand out.
That's correct. Brazil's market estimated at about USD 134.4 million in 2025, 10.9% CAGR. Interestingly, the report notes demand from the agricultural sector plays a role there too. These products aren't just for pets.
Ah, good point. Livestock, too.
Right. Argentina, looking at about USD 52.8 million market in 2025, but slightly higher growth, 11.2% CAGR. Seeing growth in both agriculture and pet care industries there. Then Colombia, Peru, Chile also contributing. KGR is around 10%.
Okay. And the Middle East and Africa. Smaller shares currently, but what's the potential?
The Middle East holds around 2% globally, projected at about USD 330.6 million in 2025, but a strong CGR again, 10.9%.
Also double digits.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are significant contributors, both with KGRs over 11%, and again, linked to increased pet ownership. Turkey and Qatar also showing robust growth.
And Africa.
Africa holds around 1% of the global share right now. Market size about USD 181.8 million in 2025, expected to grow at a respectable 9.9% CAGR. South Africa and Nigeria are key markets mentioned. Growing awareness of pet care is noted as a factor in Nigeria.
So even in regions with smaller current market sizes, the growth rates are still pretty significant. It really underscores that overall global expansion.
It does.
Okay, let's change tack now. Let's look at the types of products being sold. What's most popular? What are people actually buying?
Well, according to the report, chewable products are currently the most dominant.
Chewables, like treats.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's largely due to convenience owners find them easy to give. Their perceived effectiveness is high. And, well, many pets just take them readily. No fuss.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Trying to give a pill or apply some, messy liquid could be a real struggle.
Definitely. But the report also highlights Fluralaner as the fastest growing ingredient segment within product types.
Fluorolaner, why is that one growing so fast?
Seems to be down to its high effectiveness, and particularly its long-lasting action. Often provides protection for up to 12 weeks from a single dose.
12 weeks. Okay, I can see the appeal. That extended protection is a major draw for busy owners.
Huge convenience factor.
The report also mentioned other types, valerian, chamomile, spot-ons with things like methoprene, fipronil. How do those fit in?
Right, those represent alternatives. Valerian and chamomile often appeal to owners looking for more natural or maybe calming solutions. Spot-ons, the liquids applied to the skin, they're still a significant part of the market. They offer targeted delivery of various active ingredients like fipronil or methoprene. So it caters to different preferences, different needs.
Okay. Now, thinking about how these treatments are given, are internal treatments like those chewables more popular than external ones, like the spot-ons or collars?
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
Internal methods hold the larger share. That includes those chewables we talked about, other oral meds, systemic treatments, things that work from inside the pet's body.
And why are they dominant?
Mostly effectiveness and that continuous coverage they offer without needing frequent reapplication. That's a real benefit.
But you also mentioned external methods are growing fast.
Exactly. External methods, spot-ons, collars, sprays, powders, they're gaining traction. Again, convenience is key. Ease of use, simplicity of just applying a spot-on or fitting a collar.
So convenience seems to drive both internal and external choices, just in different ways.
It does. Plus, there's likely increasing awareness about the diseases fleas and ticks carry. Diseases that can affect humans, too. So that might be boosting demand for effective external barriers as well.
Right, protecting the whole family. Okay, makes sense. Now, let's talk about the pets themselves. Which type of pet accounts for the biggest chunk of this market? I think I can guess.
Yeah, it's dogs. Overwhelmingly dominate the market.
Why is that? Just more dogs?
Partly that they're one of the most popular pets globally, but also dogs often spend more time outdoors, so they tend to be more susceptible to infestations compared to, say, indoor cats. And interestingly, the dog segment is also identified as the fastest growing pet type segment.
Faster than cats, really?
According to this report, yes, although the cat segment is also growing rapidly.
Okay, tell me about the cats then. They're hugely popular too.
They are, and they're driving significant growth. As cats become more popular, especially maybe in urban areas, more owners are proactively seeking flea and tick prevention. And there are more convenient, effective, safe products specifically for cats now, which helps drive that trend.
Good. It's good to see cat owners getting more proactive too. Okay, so we know what's selling, how it's given, and who it's for. How do these products actually get to the pet owners? Distribution channels.
Well, the online channel currently holds the largest share. E-commerce platforms just offer huge convenience and selection.
Yeah, browse from home, compare prices, read reviews.
Exactly. And within that online space, the report specifically calls out e-commerce sites as a major engine of growth.
So like the big online retailer.
Yeah, think Amazon, Chewy, those kinds of places, plus maybe direct company websites. They're really propelling market growth. Easy access, price transparency, customer feedback, home delivery, it's all there. Plus, things like subscriptions make it even easier.
Okay, so digital is critical. What about good old-fashioned physical stores? Are they still relevant?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Offline channels still have a significant presence. Specialty vet stores, pharmacies, big retail chains like Walmart or Target.
Right.
While online is dominant and growing faster, lots of consumers still prefer that in-person experience. Maybe they want advice from staff, want to see the product, or just need it immediately.
So it's a mix, catering to different preferences. Okay, let's shift to the why behind all this, the fundamental forces shaping the market. What are the key drivers pushing this growth?
The report points to several key drivers. Number one, simply the increasing number of pets being adopted globally. More pets means more need for products.
Foundational, yeah.
Second, growing awareness and concern among owners about pet health. People are focusing more on preventative care, and that includes flea and tick protection.
Makes sense. We treat them like family.
Exactly. And finally, the continuous development of innovative, more convenient, longer-lasting solutions, like those 12-week chewables we mentioned.
Yeah.
That enhances the appeal and drives growth.
Okay, those all seem logical, but are there things holding it back? Any restraints or headwinds?
Yes, the report identifies some restraints, too. One is regulatory restrictions. Getting new products approved can be complex and slow, potentially limiting innovation reaching the market.
Bureaucracy.
And second, the cost. Some of these products, especially the newer, longer-lasting ones, can be quite expensive. That can be a barrier for some owners, limiting widespread use, especially in maybe more price-sensitive markets.
Right. Affordability is always a factor.
Yeah.
Okay, so drivers and restraints. What about trends? What's emerging? What should we watch for?
Two key trends stand out in the report. First, there's a growing demand from pet owners for natural and organic solutions.
Ah, yes. That seems to be everywhere.
It does. It mirrors the broader consumer trend towards natural products for ourselves and, well, extending that to our pets. Second, just the ongoing expansion of e-commerce sales channels for pet healthcare products globally. That trend isn't slowing down.
That natural organic trend is interesting. I wonder about the effectiveness compared to, the traditional chemical treatments.
That's the key question, isn't it? And it's driving a lot of R&D in that space.
Hmm.
Companies are working hard to create natural alternatives that are both effective and safe. It's a big
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, finally, let's talk about the companies. Who are the big players in this competitive landscape?
It's described as highly competitive. You've got major global players like Zoetis, Boehringer Ingelheim, Merck,
Pharma names, some of them.
yeah, Merck & Co., Inc., Verbac, Elanco, Seva. These established companies have wide product ranges. They compete on innovation, safety, price, brand reputation,
Hmm.
all of that.
And are there newer companies making waves? Or any other interesting industry activity?
Yes, the report mentions emerging players,
Hmm.
often focusing specifically on those natural and organic segments, trying to carve out a niche there.
Makes sense.
We also see collaborations, acquisitions, pretty standard for a competitive market.
Mm.
The report actually included a couple of recent specific examples from May 2024, not about market share directly, but showing activity, like Petco donating to an animal shelter for preventative care, including flea meds, and the USDA authorizing a new rapid heartworm test kit from Bionote Inc. Just examples of ongoing developments in the broader pet health space that touches this market.
Gotcha. So it's a dynamic field. Established giants, innovative newcomers, all trying to meet pet owner needs.
Exactly. It's a market that's really fundamentally driven by, well, our strong bond with our pets and wanting to keep them healthy.
Well, this has been a truly illuminating deep dive. Just to quickly recap for everyone listening, we've seen this is a huge, rapidly expanding industry,
Yeah.
expected to more than double by 2033.
Driven by more pets, more focus on preventative health.
Right. APAC is growing fastest. Chewables and internal methods are currently most popular, but externals and naturals are rising trends.
And online sales are huge and getting bigger. It's a competitive space, lots of innovation.
So ultimately what this paints is a clear picture of a thriving market. And it really reflects, I think, our deep connection with our pets and our commitment to their health.
Precisely. It's more than just pest control, isn't it? It's tied up with the overall health and happiness of our animal companions.
Absolutely. And on that note, here's maybe a final thought for our listeners to ponder. Given this growth, and especially the rise of online shopping, how might we see even more personalized solutions emerge? Could we see, like, subscription services that tailor prevention plans to individual pets, maybe using data delivered right to your door? How might that further transform how we protect our furry friends?
That's a really interesting question. Customization meets convenience.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.